Just leaving Mohawk. I was going to say a bittersweet night, but it was a good night. Obviously, the race with unbeatable Kemp was frustrating, not just to me, but to a number of people. Yes, I wish that James had been a little more aggressive with him, but we can't complain because James is James, right? Was I a little upset when I saw him get away at the back? Yes. Was I shocked? No. You know, we have to take the good with the bad, and James is the leading driver in Canada. We're lucky to have him, and quite frankly, you know, if that horse doesn't make a break and kind of scatter everybody and jam James up in behind, one, he doesn't make a break, and two, who knows what would have happened. You know, he might have wiggled his way through, as he generally does, with horses to win. So, yeah, I was a little frustrated, but that is life. There's always next week, and the horse came out of the race great. You know, somebody said, well, you know, I don't really know if he got interfered with. Well, he most definitely got interfered with. If you watch him shaking his head and throwing his head right before he makes a break, he almost, I would say, he actually went out of his way very hard not to make a break, because the way he was shaking his head and throwing his head, you know, he was probably as frustrated as we were, quite frankly, before he made that break. So he most definitely was interfered with, and as I said, the horse was sound after, seemed fine after. Now, will he be tomorrow? I would imagine. But we'll know more tomorrow. Earlier in the day, we had Blue Tesla race. Grossly overmatched. You know, I had paid her into a claiming series for two reasons. One, you know, Melissa and Mark had messaged me and said, listen, this 20 claimer is really light. They're calling for entries for it, for the series. You know, what do you got? At the time, Walk on the Moon was worth more than 20, obviously. We did Macho Martini. I didn't really want to not sell him and send him to Saratoga to race. Really, all we had was Blue Tesla. And at that time, when we had to pay her in, this was before she raced, I really thought the way she schooled, yeah, she'd probably make a good fit if it was a watered-down bunch. As it turns out, it wasn't a tough bunch. The winner, the first and second horses were probably legit 15, at least 15s, if not 20s. The rest of them, I don't really know. They look kind of in the mix. But that wasn't the only reason we had sent Blue Tesla there. Mark told me, hey, she can't do the 20. I guarantee you there's an 18 condition claimer she can do here. Non-winners is 7 or 8 or something. And again, Mark had sent me a message after and said, Brett said she was good. She steered good. Obviously, a little outmatched. But more importantly, I'm confident in saying that she can probably thump the condition claimers here, which is why we actually sent her. So it wasn't just this week. She got a 5, but it wasn't really just this start. It was the starts that will come from Blue Tesla. I believe she's in the right place. I'd said this to everybody. I know it was a little uncomfortable for some of our clients. They just sell the shares, and some people got licensed. It was a pain in the butt. I get that, and I do apologize. But my job is to make sure we have the horses in the right class that they can do the best work in. It's hard enough to make money, but you know, when we can find a class, much like Megan did last week with Saratoga, with She's a Sassy Beach, anytime we can find a class that the horse fits well, then it's in our best interest to follow through with that. And I get it. I get you're frustrated. Some people, I understand it, but surely you understand what I'm trying to do here. And obviously, it's a little more obvious now because we don't have our full barrage racing, right? We didn't get to do over the winter what we really wanted to do for a number of reasons. You know, JK Victory's just getting going now. We're at least a month late, both in purchasing and getting him racing. But again, horses don't really care what you have planned for them. They're individuals, and you know, acquiring them is tough enough, but getting them at tip-top shape, ready to go, and racing at their top, at their very best, is hard to do. So Blue Tesla, I think, is in the right place. Later on, we had the unbeatable Kemp debacle a little bit. I think I've spoken enough about that. And up next was we did have 2 winners on Monday night. Yo Mister, I thought raced great. You know, I know Brett kind of got him in a tight spot, but again, we're prepping him for the series next week. I just thought he drove him great. You know, he was lucky to get through, but drove the horse great. Yo Mister obviously looked like he was brimming with confidence going onto the wire, and that should spill over into next week. I would still, again, I haven't been watching the non-winners of 4 division, but I would have to believe that Yo Mister would be one of the prohibited favorites going into the non-winners of 6 series, just given his history and how fresh he is and especially coming off a win now. So very happy with him. Locatelli come through in a huge way, look good. As James said, he said they went faster in the other division, but Locatelli's not one to run off on the field. Once in a while he will, but for the most part, Locatelli is a horse that will get his work done. And I told everybody, somebody messaged me tonight and said, I hope James gets a good trip with him. I said, he'll be on front at the half. I'm almost positive of that. Took a little bit longer to get there, but I think once he made front, I was pretty confident, and it seemed like the horse was too. James was fairly motionless in the bike. Yeah, there was horses coming, but again, he hadn't called on him from virtually, I would say, as soon as he got a look at the TV at that point, which is before halfway down the lane, he probably knew he was a winner. And then we know with World for Two. Now, World for Two was a little different. We had a big trotting bike on World for Two tonight, and he hit it the whole way. Never stopped, not for a second. His left hind leg hit the cross piece the entire way, which is shocking. Usually when that happens, you'll see a horse lose a shoe. In the snow, they'll do that. Maybe a horse was slipping, but this horse had grab on. It was very odd that he would do this. Now, if you watch the qualifier, he was a real handful on Mario, and Mario wheeled him out of the 2-hole and then, aired him down the lane. Now, tonight we had a snake cord on him, which we had worn on him in Pennsylvania before, and he's very polite with it on. If you noticed, I had no trouble. As soon as the gate picked up speed, he started hitting the bike. I didn't really want to blast out of there in a 7-horse field, in with aged horses, just to have them engulf him down the lane. Now, I expected to be looking for room, not finishing up with the bit hanging out of his mouth, but, so 3 things, I guess. The first one, now you see how fast the track was the other day, because he paced 54-1, 54-2 tonight probably, and did it okay, but needed a tightener. He was not hurt. It was just an even mile for him. 2, and the 2 biggest takeaways is, without the snake cord, he's much more aggressive. You're probably not going to race him with the snake cord on. I had no trouble with it tonight because we wanted to get a mile into him. And 3, I think the biggest mitigating factor of all is him hitting that race bike. Now, this is why it's a little perplexing. That's a big bike. We raced him in my bike in Pennsylvania, which is the one Tim uses. We raced him in Scott Zeron's bike multiple times. Tim's other bike. It didn't seem to matter what bike we raced him in last year. There was no trouble. But yet tonight there was. I don't really know why. I can't tell you why. I think what we will do is go back to a normal size bike. But I am still a little perplexed as to why he was hitting the bike to begin with. But he did steer good. He wasn't on a line. And with the snake cord in his mouth, he was very behaved, very subdued tonight. So I think he needed a start. You just can't come off the qualifiers and beat up on those horses. I don't blame Mario for putting the horse in that class. That's a class that he fits. And he's going to have to face tough horses. But he probably should be able to slide into a non-winners of 2. Now he's got 39,000 made. Non-winners of 2, maybe not more than 4 where Haunted House was. No gimmies there either, but no horses with a couple of 100,000 that he's got to race against. So I think he's going to have to come up with a much better race, but he can. Horse qualified good, come back in 54 tonight. We know he can pace 51. And although I know he's not the deepest horse, and he is a little shallow, right? He is fast. So I think take the snake cord off, get a normal bike on him. Hope he doesn't hit that bike. If he does, then that's another conversation we have to explore. That's changing his shoes, and I really don't want to talk about that or go there. Mario and I will talk about it in the morning, but I don't think anything needs to be changed. Hopefully James can drive next week, put him in the non-winners of 40, let him rock, because now he's tighter and feeling good, and I think we'll have a much better result for World for 2 next week. So I guess the biggest takeaways from today, we had 2 good wins, very, very good wins from 2 very good trotters. World for 2 is much better than that, and I think he'll be fine next week. In regards to Blue Tesla, just finding a better class, and we already found one for her, so that's done. And then Unbeatable Kemp, race the horse. And I think James knows that. I know, I didn't want to bring it up to him. He knows that I was a little pissed off about it, and I'm sure he was too, so I just let it alone. It's over. Turn the page. You know what you did. It didn't work out. It's the end of it. It's not a big deal. I didn't check if he got an IX, and he sure as hell should have. But either way, he'll be in to go next week. So with that, I'm going to let you guys go. Not a horrible day. We had 2 winners. 2 winners, and a couple of horses that probably were a little in a little tough. That'll be that much better next week. And then Kemp, just have to get him raced next week. So really, 5 pretty decent races today. So I'll talk to you guys soon. Talk to you tomorrow. We got drone coming out tomorrow, all the videos. Now, the one thing I do want to mention is I don't think we can go live. The reception is so poor at First Line Training Center. I think what Curtis will do is record them, and then within an hour and a half or so, he'll have the sets chopped up and up for you guys. And then tomorrow afternoon, I'm off to Ohio. Going to train a bunch of horses on Wednesday, race Wednesday night. I think I'm going to stay Thursday. We have to qualify. I know I'm going to stay Thursday. We have to qualify a bunch of horses. I might even skip over and go with Dustin Hanover because I know Ronnie Wren is kind of married to Ron Burke. He has to drive that horse. I'll go over and race Dustin Hanover on Thursday and then be home for around 10 o'clock on Thursday night. So with that, I'll let you go. I hope you had a good day. It wasn't a horrible day. Pretty decent day overall. I hope you all have a great day tomorrow training the babies. And after that, I will give you another video. So take care. Talk soon. Bye for now.